"What's that house?" Tanya asked. She was standing several yards ahead of me, awkwardly balanced on an old fallen log. She had spread her legs wide apart to make up for her lack of balance, and had lifted one hand above her eyes to try and shield them from the fading sunlight. "I don't know, but that's where we're going," I announced, instantly changing directions toward the cabin in the woods. Tanya asked, "What if some kind of creep lives there?" She jumped off the log, dried pine needles crunched beneath her sneakers, and then she took off and raced after me, catching up and easily keeping pace. I told her, "Then he can at least stab me a few times and put me out of my misery. I don't care who lives there. I just want to sit down for a little bit." "I don't think that stabbing you will make you less miserable," Tanya pointed out, sounding smug, as though she had found a hole in my plan. Joke's on her. I had already thought about that. "It will if they do it inside of the cabin, where I don't have to be in the sun," I told her. "And also, if it means I don't have to do any more walking." We had been lost in the forest for almost 6 hours now. Maybe it was longer than that. We had no signals on our phones and no way to call for help. I was hot, sweaty, and had some serious blisters rubbed onto the back of my heels. Each step ground my sock into the sore skin, making me wince. My breath caught. Tanya kept pace next to me. She didn't look any better. Her normally pretty blonde hair was tangled up and pulled into a messy bun at the base of her neck. Who knew that Jersey got this hot? "We never should have listened to those guys," said Tanya. "I mean, what kind of a fun time is it in the Pine Barrens, huh? We should have heard that name and run in the other direction." "In my defense, you agreed with me," I pointed out. Also, the guys were super cute. Like total beach hunks. The kind you always pictured to be running around on the shores of Jersey. Tanya said, "Yeah, but I was also stupid. Taking dares? Stupid. We should have known better than to try something like this. I don't even like hiking." "I know," I told her. "It's not like I do either." Tanya insisted. "We should have just done a tequila shot with them and then split ways." She was right, of course. But hey, wasn't hindsight always supposed to be 20/20? Or something like that? This was just taking something that everybody already knew and proving it again. We had met some locals down on the beach, and they dared us to spend our last day hiking. We were supposed to find some sort of stone structure out in the woods. Instead, we had gotten totally lost. It was now creeping towards the evening. Twilight painted the sky in streaks of purple and blue. This cabin was the only thing that we had seen, and I was starting to think it wouldn't be any help at all. As we got closer to the cabin, I realized that Tanya was right. We should have been concerned about who lived there. Not because I thought it was the home of a serial killer, of course, but because I was pretty certain that the old wooden cabin must have been totally abandoned. The ground outside of the cabin was totally overgrown. Big shoots of grass and weeds that jutted up in all directions. There was no distinct path to the door. There was a door, but it was hanging open. The vines had grown through the hinges so it couldn't be shut. The windows were busted out, too, and appeared to have lost their glass ages ago. I said, "This place is totally empty." "I don't care," said Tanya, stomping up the walk. "An abandoned hunting cabin is better than a night on the ground. There might still be some canned food in here, too." I followed after her, though I doubted we were going to have any luck on the food department. She was right about one thing. At least we would have a roof over our heads. Or not, because the moment we stepped inside, we looked up, and straight at the sky. There was a hole in the ceiling. "Great. We're still gonna get soaked if it rains," I said. Tanya put a hand on my shoulder. "I think we've got another problem, Prim." I followed her gaze. The sun was rapidly sinking now, and even in the shadows of the cabin, it was easy to see what she was talking about. Branches, animal pelts, old blankets, and other such things had been hauled into the cabin and stowed on the floor. The debris had been shaped into a nest of sorts, and sitting in that nest, curled up asleep, was the most horrifying creature I had ever seen. It looked like a cross between a man and a goat, though it had great leathery back wings bursting out of its shoulders, and a mouth that was filled with fangs more befitting a lion than any other animal. I grabbed onto Tanya's hand and tried to back up. Glass crunched under my foot. The creature's eyes snapped open. "The Jersey Devil!" breathed Tanya, fear making her words shake. I was trembling. "No way! No way!" But denying it verbally didn't cause the beast to vanish. Instead, it straightened up, rolling its shoulders and stretching like a cat. Wings unfurled, it looked at us almost leisurely, giving a long, slow blink. Just when I was starting to think it might have been friendly, the creature sprung forwards. It moved faster than the eye could see, slamming into Tanya. Her head bounced off of the wood floor with a wet crack. Blood spilled over it. Even if that hadn't killed my friend, the Jersey Devil's fangs sinking into her throat certainly did. With a scream, I turned and took off. The sound of the monster ripping into Tanya's throat and flesh would haunt me for the rest of my life. But I didn't have time to think about it right then. I had to keep moving, keep running. Back into the forest I went. This time, the sun was gone. I was running blind. Trees snapped and whipped my face. My hands pushed and shoved at the branches in front of me. I had no idea where the path was or if I was close to the trail. My heart was pounding in my chest. I could hear the monster now. The massive wings beat as it flew through the sky above me. Had it finished eating Tanya already? The thought was foul and unsettling. I had to keep going. I had to make sure that nothing was going to get me, the way it had gotten my friend. A big root caught my foot and I tripped, falling face first into the pine needles that coated the forest floor. I pressed myself to the ground, hands covering the back of my head. I couldn't keep running forever. I didn't even know where I was trying to go. The most that I could do was stay there, cowered against the ground. My fingers tangled in my hair. The Jersey Devil circled above me. I could hear it, even though it was so dark that even the creature's shadow was invisible to me. By some stroke of luck, it didn't come down. To my dying day, I will never know if the monster was simply full from gorging on Tanya, or if I had somehow managed to hide from it. What I do know is this. The creature circled me 3 times, and then flew to the east. The beat of its wings got fainter and more distant, until the forest was once more quiet. I didn't dare stand up, but I got onto my hands and my knees and I started to crawl. By morning, my palms were bloody, and so were my knees. I couldn't stop crying, but I found my way back to the trail. People were already looking for us. The guys had been waiting for us at the rock, and when we didn't show up, they sounded the alarm. But it was too late for Tanya. She was gone. Gone! And sometimes, at night, I swear that I hear those wings in the distance, even though I'm 3 states south now and 1 to the left. I escaped the Jersey Devil once, but that doesn't mean the monster won't find me again. And the next time, I doubt that I will be anywhere near so lucky.
Subscribe today or beware.